It was supposed to be just a quick look, one notification. A good morning text, but between the tap and the look, the whole world disappeared. The road kept going, my heart distracted. My eyes locked on a screen shining brighter than the morning sun. 1 second. Just 1 second, and the sound of impact. The glass breaks like crystal hitting the floor. My body wakes up too late, shaken by the violence of reality. The phone vibrates on the car floor, still on, still calling. The cracked screen keeps glowing like nothing happened, and then comes the question nobody wants to hear. How much is a life worth? A good morning text, a like, a reply that could wait? Is it worth risking never feeling the sun again? Is it worth trading the hug of someone you love for a blinking emoji? I thought I was in control. But deep down, I don't know anymore if I'm using my phone or if it's using me. It vibrates. I answer. It goes quiet. I wait. It calls. I run. And that's how we go, too connected to see what we're losing. The digital poison has no taste, no smell, but everyone's drinking it. And each sip is a small dose of forgetting. A quiet erasing of what's real. Before, mornings had the sound of voices, not notifications. Hands reached out for another body, not for a cold device that never touches back. Eyes met the world. The orange-painted sky, the face of who slept beside you, the open window inviting the day in. Not a glowing reflection of yourself trapped in a glass screen. Time felt slower. Talks lasted longer. Silence felt less uncomfortable. There was space to think, to feel, to just exist without needing to prove you were there. People looked in each other's eyes when they talked. They laughed together, not on separate screens. They cried on each other's shoulders, not through emojis that never really cry. Now, everything vibrates. Everything blinks. Everything demands an instant reply, and we, without noticing, reply, like programmed robots, like puppets whose strings are invisible, but perfectly tight, like life was inside that glowing rectangle that fits in your hand. But maybe the real glow is turning off what we have inside. Every second we spend looking down, we lose a moment of looking up. Every auto-reply message, we lose a real conversation. Every posted photo, we lose an instant that never comes back. The digital poison is sweet, fast, and visible. And while we think we're connected, we're actually disconnecting from everything that's alive. From the touch of skin, from the sound of real laughter, from the taste of being present. Behind that smooth, harmless phone screen, there's a system that learned to know you better than you know yourself. Every tap creates data. Every look, a pattern. Every 1 second pause is recorded, analyzed, and used to call you back. Digital addiction doesn't happen by accident. It's designed, calculated, tested on thousands of brains until they find the perfect formula. In labs and white rooms, engineers and psychologists figured out how to turn attention into money. They studied casinos. They studied slot machines. They studied rats in mazes and put it all in your phone. Every scroll, every like, every message sound releases a tiny dose of dopamine, the same brain chemical that keeps people hooked on drugs, alcohol, or gambling. The difference is this addiction has no smell, no color, leaves no visible marks. It's socially acceptable. It's praised as productivity, connectivity, modern life. It's carried in your pocket like oxygen. The phone became a mirror that never turns off. And the more you look, the less you see. Less of yourself, less of the world, less of the life passing by while you scroll. Human eyes weren't made for this constant glow. The brain wasn't made for this much interruption. The heart wasn't made for this permanent anxiety. Notifications hit your prefrontal cortex like repeated slaps to your awareness. Each alert breaks your train of thought. Each pause restarts your mind in a state of empty reward. Each vibration is a shot of adrenaline saying, you're missing something important, but you never are. Little by little, your body enters permanent alert mode. Sleep gets shorter. Time gets twisted. Your brain learns to live at peak tension, never resting. And like any drug, the effect gets weaker with use. What used to bring pleasure now just brings momentary relief. What used to be special is now just more of the same. What used to calm you now only calms you for seconds before the next dose. So you look for more videos, more scrolling, more dopamine. And every time you think you're done, the machine says, just a little more. The scroll is endless. The video already loads the next one. The story expires in 24 hours, so you have to watch now. On the outside, it's life. On the inside, it's a nervous system in slow collapse. The phone promises connection, but delivers exhaustion. Promises information, but plants confusion. Promises company, but multiplies loneliness. Because deep down, you know, none of these people are really with you. They're digital ghosts, presence without body, voices without soul. And with each tap, each scroll, each alert, the brain learns to call this life without realizing it's just another small dose of digital death. In the beginning, the phone was a miracle, a voice crossing distance, an invisible thread connecting hearts separated by miles. The warm sound of someone saying hello had the power to heal missing someone, even if just for a few precious minutes. Each call was waited for. Rare, precious, The phone ringing was an event. And when it rang, hearts raced. Who could it be? Good news or bad? The voice of someone you love or some random stranger? It was the promise of closeness, a link between distant worlds, an invisible tie between who left and who stayed, a bridge over the gap of absence. People called to hear the breathing on the other side. They paused to listen to the silence between words. Because even silence had meaning when it was shared. There was time to miss someone. There was space for longing to breathe. Longing was healthy. It existed to remind us of the value of what we love, to teach us that absence is also part of love. But like everything that promises to shorten distance, the phone started wanting more. Text messages came, then pocket notifications, then alerts, then video calls, then social media. The longing disappeared. Not because we were cured of it, but because we learned to numb it. What was presence at a distance became constant absence. Now we talk all the time, but almost never say anything real. Hi, how are you? Became automatic code with no real interest in the answer. I miss you became a weightless word, thrown in messages that don't even need a reply. I love you became a heart emoji. Thousands of them, all the same, all empty. The ring that used to make hearts race with anxiety and joy now interrupts sleep like an intruder. And in the rush to always be close, we forgot what it's like to truly miss someone, what it's like to count the days to see someone, what it's like to save words to say in person, what it's like to hold the hand of someone you love and feel that moment, that single moment, is worth more than 1,000 messages. The phone promised to shorten distances, but it shortened us on the inside. We traded physical presence for digital presence, eye contact for emojis, touch for reactions, time for speed. It taught us not to wait. And with that, we forgot the value of waiting. We forgot that anticipation is part of pleasure, that delay has its own flavor, that not everything needs to be instant to be real. There was a time when distance hurt, but also healed, because in longing there was space for love to grow, for memories to ripen, for absence to teach the value of presence. Now, without silence and without absence, love has nowhere to breathe. Closeness became continuous, and, like any overdose, it became poison. Today the world wakes up with a tap. Before opening our eyes, we open the screen. Before feeling the sun on our skin, we feel the vibration in our palm. Before remembering who we are, we're already checking who looked for us. Each wake-up starts with a mechanical gesture. Swipe the finger, check, reply, scroll, scroll, scroll. Mornings aren't ours anymore. They belong to whatever calls us before we even remember our own name. People walk down the streets with eyes down. They trip over poles. They bump into each other. They cross red lights. They live connected, but they don't look at each other. In restaurants, parks, buses, there's always the same digital silence. A quiet crowd, faces lit by the same cold glow. The gesture is the same. Finger sliding, eyes fixed, empty expression. The look is the same. Distant, absent, lost somewhere that isn't here, like everyone's trapped in the same invisible spell. Like a magnetic force pulls them down, always down. But on the other side, there's another group, silent, small, almost invisible in this world of screens. People who still walk without headphones, who feel the wind on their face and smile, who look at the sky and notice when clouds change shape, who let their pocket vibrate without answering, because they know nothing. Truly important gets lost in a few minutes of waiting. They're strangers in this time. Aliens in a land that's no longer theirs. They're the ones who still know how to wait. The ones who still know the taste of patience. The ones who still remember what boredom feels like and let it pass without needing to fill it with anything. While some live in endless scrolling, they live in present time. While some seek validation in likes, they seek validation in their own mirror reflection. While some document every moment to prove they exist, they simply exist without needing proof, witness, or audience. They still know the weight of the word longing. They still call for real. Not to say hi, how are you, but to really talk, to share silences, to just be together, even when apart. They still look in the eyes when they speak. They still notice when someone's sad, even when they say they're fine. They still understand that closeness doesn't come from shortened distance, but from extended soul. Maybe the world needs to relearn how to disconnect, not like running away, but like finding yourself again. Because there are two types of silence, the one that comes from loneliness and the one that comes from peace. The first is empty and desperate. The second is full and restoring. And while some try to escape emptiness by filling it with digital noise, others are rediscovering the precious space inside it. The phone promised closeness, but true connection never needed signal, never needed Wi-Fi, never needed battery. Sometimes it's born exactly when you finally turn off. The day was too ordinary to end in tragedy. The sun rose the same as every other day. Indifferent, punctual, beautiful. Traffic moved slow, like always. And the same reflex, checking the phone, repeated like breathing. One notification. Good morning. That's it. A simple message. A routine gesture. 2 words and a yellow emoji. The thumb slides. The eyes shift. For a split second, maybe less, the world around loses focus. The steering wheel, forgotten. The engine sound, muffled. The body movement, frozen. Everything fades in 1 second. The impact isn't just metal and noise, it's time splitting in half. It's awareness breaking between the tap and regret. It's an entire life passing in slow motion before stopping forever. The phone falls to the car floor, spinning in the air like slow motion, still on, still vibrating, still calling someone who can no longer answer. Messages keep coming. Pulsing hearts, laughing in all caps, urgent notifications about things that were never urgent. A whole world keeps spinning. Not knowing that, for someone, it just ended. And in the middle of deafening silence, an unanswered question floats. How much is a life worth? A good morning text, like that disappears in 24 hours? A reply that could wait 5 minutes? Is it worth trading your last breath for 2 words on a screen? Sirens sound in the distance, getting closer like vultures. The crowd starts forming. It always does. Faces look through broken windows. And what do? Cameras film. Phones raised like totems. Recording, sharing, going viral. The same object that caused the tragedy now records the event for strangers to consume. The cycle closes, and nobody sees the brutal irony. On the car floor, among glass and blood, the phone vibrates 1 more time. It's like it still wants to prove it's alive, that it still has purpose, that it can still connect someone to something, but the body doesn't respond. The eyes don't blink. The hands don't move, because in that instant, the poison showed its purest face. Distraction disguised as routine. Death wrapped as convenience. Forgetting sold as connection. And what seemed like life before, likes, comments, notifications, validations, was just reflection. Light without warmth, presence without body, illusion without substance. Technology didn't kill anyone, they say. It's true. What kills is what it awakens in us. The rush that has no destination, the dependency that has no cure, the false urgency of everything that was never urgent. It's the fear of not replying like our existence depends on always being available. It's the fear of not being present where we were never truly present. It's the fear of missing something we never really had. And so, in one single tap, the promise of closeness becomes goodbye. After the noise comes silence, and in it, only in it, the truth appears. The phone keeps vibrating on the floor, among glass shards and shattered life. But there's no one left to answer. No one to swipe. No one to type "I'm fine" when nothing is fine. The screen still glows, cracked but persistent, like asking for forgiveness, like wanting to say, it wasn't my fault, and maybe it wasn't. And the world goes on. Notifications don't stop. Messages keep coming. The endless feed doesn't notice the absence of one tap, one life, one heart that stopped. Because that's how poison works. It doesn't kill you all at once, like a bullet or traditional poison. It just distracts you while life slips through your fingers like fine sand. It just keeps you looking down while the world happens around you. It just steals you second by second until nothing's left but regret. Maybe the phone was never the enemy. It's just a mirror. It only reflected what the world became. Impatient, anxious, hungry for attention, terrified of emptiness. With each tap, we believe we're getting closer to something important. With each notification, we believe we're needed. With each like, we believe we're seen, but we're moving away from time that passes and doesn't return, moving away from silence that heals, moving away from ourselves, from the deeper, truer, more alive version of who we really are. And maybe the real awakening isn't about turning off the phone forever, but about learning to hear what exists when it finally goes quiet. The sound of wind blowing through trees. The real laugh of someone you love, unfiltered, unedited, not performed. The heart beating to the rhythm of now. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, just now. Life happening in real time, not in stories that expire. Some say death comes suddenly without warning, but it's not always like that. Sometimes it comes slowly, in small taps that seem harmless, in distractions disguised as connection, in messages that cost more than they seem, not in money, but in life, in presence, in moments that never return. Modern death isn't the sudden end. It's the slow forgetting of how to live. It's waking up already dead inside. It's being present only in body, absent in everything else. It's trading real life for the digital simulation of it, and life, true life, pulsing, imperfect, beautiful. It begins exactly where silence returns, where the finger stops scrolling, where eyes look up, where the heart remembers it can beat for things other than the next notification. It begins when you finally put down the phone and realize the world is still here. People are still here. You are still here. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. Because death rarely comes all at once. Sometimes it comes in small doses. And life? Life was always here, waiting for you to look up,